That's weird. Alright. Well, crew tractor. Rolly guy. I gotta empty out these drawers pretty soon. I'm probably not pretty soon, just do it. Oh. Alright. It is a night, that's for sure. You know, like, some people like to pretend that, like, climate change isn't, like, a thing. But more and more of our monsoon this year, I mean, we're more than halfway through August, which is usually like, we haven't had a monsoon season go this late in well over a decade. Um, and monsoons always hit around like 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They never hit. Um, it's 7 o'clock here. They never hit at like, yeah, it started raining around 7, so it's been about 15 minutes. But I have family members, intelligent family members who are like, yeah, global warming or climate change or isn't legit, and I'm like, you're high. And somebody might say, well, what does it matter when it's actually raining? And I'm like, when you have something that's not like clockwork, but like during our monsoon seasons, we used to get, you know, consistent, um, consistent rain, like every day, every other day, on, during our summer months. It would start in July, it would go roughly to like the Labor Day time period. And that was, it was pretty consistent all through like junior high and high school and stuff like that. So, um, even like up through college and stuff, I remember because like my college years, I went to school in the evening. Why the fuck is this not just playing? Like, it's playing a song and then it's not playing anything else. It's fucking weird. Anyways, um, you would get that like consistently, right? Turn this up. Yeah, bro, where are you? Are you at work? If you're at work, yeah, I understand why you can't hear it. Yeah, it started raining like 15 minutes ago, like right before 7 o'clock. Fucking crazy, because like the sun was still kind of out, and you could see like the trees and stuff like that swaying in the wind. I slept most of today, and it's funny because like I usually sleep like really well during rain. Oh, well, yeah, it's coming down here. This is page 9. Hello. I've decided to let some of the scenes that I've been working on with chapter 3 breathe quite a bit. It was one scene with some of the characters, and it was literally only, I think it was 2 pages, and I think I turned it into 3 or 4. And then this scene, I don't know why I wrote it the way I did, but I wrote it 1 page, right? And I mean, there wasn't a lot of dialogue in it or anything like that, but it's also an integral scene. I realized, okay. Yeah, I don't know how to boot that person. Um, there we go. Oh, that's going to be annoying. Yeah, guys, I don't have a moderator or anything like that. If you come in here and you behave that way, just go somewhere else. I don't have time for shit like that. But at least I know how to hide your messages. Anyways, we've got, you're fine, buddy. You're fine. So I decided that it was really important that these 2 characters have more time to breathe, right? Buddy, I can't do anything. If it's raining right now, you can't go outside. It's still raining right now. I'm not taking you outside. You're crazy. Do you want to go outside while it's raining? Hold on. I think he wants to go outside. I don't know why he wants to go outside while it's raining. Okay, weird. Dude, you actually went outside. That's crazy. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. Right in the middle on screen. Not in the middle of it, but jerk. All right, guys, I'm on my way back. Hold on. Watch out. You gotta get out of the way. You can't do that. Yeah. There you go. Okay. God, he's a little goofball. He actually went outside. I'm really, really shocked. Usually, I open the door and it's raining and he's just nah. So, but So this scene with this two characters who are like tertiary characters, like they really needed some room, right, to kind of have their moment. So you learn a little bit more about them. You get a little more backstory with what's going on. And I think that's like one of the important lessons of like, I'm doing this all myself, right? So I get to make those changes, those edits. So I get to add or subtract. And the end of the book, like the remaining portion of the book, is like 40 something pages. So it's not that long. So actually having these spots to increase like the page count, or not specifically to increase the page count, but to give these characters and their scene, a little more gravitas, is important. And it's going to add to the story. And these are like dialogue heavy like pages. So you come to another kind of like issue where like, how do you make dialogue itself, like how do you make the visuals for it, how do you make it interesting, like how do you make it, let me move this back a little bit, how do you like keep people engaged? Because a lot of times during like dialogue portions of movies and stuff like that, people tune out a little bit. Oh, and I've had like this week with eBay has been so friggin' weird. So I sold a book, or I sold a sketch card, and then I sold a book. And so like the funds for the book are on hold, which I think is ridiculous. But they said it was because like they saw irregular sales or irregular activity on my account. And I'm like, yeah, I sell like 2 things a year. So like you sell 2 things within the span of like a week. Yeah, it looks weird. But the so like sold the card, they finally released the funds. They're waiting to release the funds for the book on Friday. Somebody, like there were people watching a bunch of stuff, so I sent an offer out for the Terminator sketch cover that I had, and the person sent a counter offer. And I was just like, okay, well then that's kind of insulting, you know. So but I would like to have extra money for the conventions coming up. So I was just like, okay, well, like wait a day, think about it, and then approve the or accept the offer. So I go and I accept the offer. Um, it was yesterday, like partway through the day, I accepted the offer, and it says, okay, we're giving this person a little bit of time to pay. And I'm like, that's fucking weird, because when I put an offer down on something, eBay immediately makes me enter a payment method so that if the offer is accepted, then automatically I get charged, right? Which sounds fair, right? Like if you're putting an offer on, like, um, so they leave a little bit of leeway. And one of my friends tells me, yeah, they do that so people can kind of cruise and like maybe buy some other stuff from your store. And I'm like, that's fucking weird. Um, and so I get back on the app and I'm looking at, submitting some offers and, stuff like that. And all of a sudden, the same Terminator sketch cover comes up and it says, would you like, send an offer to somebody who's watching this? And I'm like, somebody just bought that. Like, why is that on? Like, why is that available? Somebody sent an offer, I accepted it. And so I guess they backed out of their offer. Like, I didn't realize you could do that. So I started looking at some of the settings and stuff like that. And apparently you can rescind an offer. So I lose out on a sale. I kind of feel like you should be able to like ding that person for doing shit like that, right? Like that just seems, I don't know, dickish. Um, so what's up, Angel? Was just talking about how I essentially had a sale on eBay, and then the person rescinded, I guess, their offer because I saw my item available to be able to send as an offer to somebody else. Like, see you later, Dustin. Have a good night. Um, but yeah, like, it's buddy, you went outside, you got a treat, you got food over there. You're okay. Get in your bed. So um yeah, so it's been a weird week, like already. It's kind of disappointing that eBay allows that kind of uh, lack of um, I don't want to say lack of professionalism. Person's a buyer, not a seller, but it still sucks because like there goes money, right? So I put out a thing yesterday on Instagram and stuff like that, asking about that I'm open for commissions, and kind of gave like a bare bones like idea of like what you could, like what you're gonna spend, kind of thing. So it's kind of It sucks. I mean, it wasn't a ton of money or anything like that. But at the point where like somebody kind of makes like a it's always kind of insulting when somebody makes an offer on your artwork. But, you know, not everybody's going to see the same, value in what you do, right? Hold on a second. Just in case. All right. Just in case I drop it, break it, whatever. I gotta see how my hand looks holding a coffee cup. Problem is I'm seeing it from like the side in this picture. So So the character that I'm drawing right now, holding the coffee cup, is kind of modeled after Clint Eastwood, specifically in Line of Fire, because he's a government guy. And he's supposed to be like really old too, like, like really old, like in his late 60s, 70s, like probably shouldn't be doing this type of work anymore, but like, he's the good soldier, the just like sitting here and looking at it and then adding some of these like details and stuff like that is, I think, is really going to make it a little bit better. One of my friends asked, like, I asked if they had gotten their table assignment for Tucson Con, and they did. And then they asked me if, like, what my table assignment was, and I could have sworn I told them I wasn't tabling, but I guess I hadn't. But I have like a plan for what I want to have like signed and stuff like that. Um, I I pulled aside like everything that I want, and I might do like, I don't know, like do that as like a part of a live like before the show, just to show around, and then maybe do like a I don't know, like a not a live video from the con itself, but maybe do like a breakdown of the show. It might also be kind of nice because this is going to be the first time I'm ever going to Tucson Con as like just an attendee. And honestly, I'm kind of excited for it, right? Like, yeah, there's part of me that's just like, well, you know, maybe it would have been nice to table, especially with a new book and everything, but um what do you mean really? Um oh, that they didn't know? I mean, I guess. I don't know. Um this live stream is not sponsored by Mug Root Beer. Mug Root Beer contacted me and told me that I have to specifically say that. Just kidding. In case you were, you know, wondering. Um, but yeah, maybe I'll do a video of. Oh yeah, yeah. I've been tabling there since it started in '08. Um, let's see, '08 to 2012, 2008 to 2012, and in 2013 I did a show in another state that I don't talk about because it was a scam and it was horrible and everything. Um, and so it was the same weekend as Tucson, and then um, continued 2014 to 2017. 2016, I couldn't afford a table, or I didn't get a table, but I had some friends who were exhibiting as like a shop, and they let me have like a table at their booth. Um, and then the 2017 when the Bubba Patrol came out, 2018 technically I didn't have a table, but a friend had a table, but he had gotten a new job, so he couldn't exhibit, so he gave the table to me. And then 2019, 2020, and 2021 obviously didn't happen. 2019 was the only time I was officially a guest at con, and then 22 through 25. And 2024 was like the first time. 2018 and 2024 were like the times that I didn't really have like new merch. Like I hadn't even started doing the the horror prints and stuff like that. And then last year, so yeah, after last year, I decided you need to at least take a year off. Like I didn't make money. or at least, didn't make money that was satisfactory. And that's pretty much the case with Tucson Con. Like, it's not a money con. I know a lot of other people, like, I have some friends who are crafters and stuff like that, and they do pretty well, which is great. Like, I want my friends to do well, but it's gotten to the point where it's very, very, very frustrating that like I'm not making money that makes it worth doing, you know. And now that they've raised prices on tables, and it's like 2 years in a row that they've raised prices, because in 2023 to 2024, I think it was 185. And then with your fees and everything, it was over 200. But then, like 2023, it was 185, and then 2024, they gave, like, returning vendors could get their tables at the same price they paid the previous year. And then in 2025, like, everybody else in 2024, like, after the fact, had to pay 200 for their Artist Alley tables. And then in 2025, they were just like, oh no, everybody's paying $200. So essentially they raised it 15 from 2024 to 2025. And then from last year to this year, they raised it by $75 before fees. So, like, I can't justify spending over $300 on a table that doesn't make me money, you know. If it's not like an attempt at a new venture, it's just kind of not worth it, in my opinion. And it'll be, like I said, it'll be a little weird not tabling, but I mean, I had somebody from the con ask me if I wanted to do one of the guild trophies for the cosplay contest, and I was just like, yeah, that sounds good. At that time, I'd already said it had been months since I said I wasn't going to do the convention, and like, I never heard back from that person about that. Like, I saw them months later at something, and I forget what it was, and they were like, hey, I need to get some new art from you. And I was like, okay, cool. And I hadn't heard from them after that, but never heard from them again about the guild trophy. So I'm like, okay, that's a little weird. So, I kind of, like, this year, it was kind of neat seeing so many indie and local to Arizona creators, like, being announced as guests and stuff like that. Like, I'm excited about that. I'm glad that they are starting to finally seeming to, get off of their duff and, realize, like, it's not just the big creators who reaching for an empty mug with fucking nothing in it. That they're finally realizing that, like, independent creators can have just as much of an impact on attendees, and, like, it's important to include them and give them guest spots and stuff like that. Like, I really am. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't just a little bit bitter that it's the year that I announced well in advance that I wasn't going to be attending, or wasn't going to be tabling. But, it's whatever. Like, I do want my friends and I do want my fellow creators to succeed. Like, it was like sometimes when I would do pretty well at the show, and like I'd have friends and I'd ask them like how they were doing, and they were like, "Oh, like we did terribly." Like I almost wanted to trade my success for their lack of success, like switch it so that they could have, um, uh, you know, a better experience, kind of thing, you know. And I mean, you know, it is what it is. I've had some friends who've, you know, been doing this as long or almost as long as I have, and they are like, yeah, we won't do the show unless we're invited. And I'm like, well, that's, yeah, no, I know you're not tabling. I had asked you a while ago if you were, but um, I know I've the really great thing about indie comics is that, like, if you're not liking what's being put out by Marvel and DC and Image and stuff like that, like I don't really consider Image indie. Image is creator owned, which is different than being indie. Um, but if you're not happy with that, you have the opportunity to, you know, find creators who are doing work that you appreciate or doing work that you like, you know, story types. And it's hard to get this guy's like, but it's, um, you know, there's tons of other publishers, tons of other creators, there's tons of other ways to support people. So the problem, the biggest issue that I'm seeing um, with a lot of like truly independent creators, like people who are, you know, relying on Kickstarter and crowdfunding to uh, actually make, you know, their print run and everything is, um, and it's just, it's the nature of the beast, man. Like prices for a single issue are skyrocketing through an independent, like $20, and that's not even including um, shipping, right? Um, I think with my next offering, I'm going to try to do something that doesn't give me like as much um, like as much breathing room, because I'd like to set up a shop website with a shop and, have people be able to do like pre-orders on, right? Um, I don't know how to do that, so I've got to figure that out. And I mean, I've got plenty of time because like this is only page 9 of what's probably going to be like 28 to 30 pages, right? So there's um, plenty of time. It's not just pencils, it's inks and everything. So, um, and somebody told me about like, what do you call it? Coffee or Ko-Fi. Um, and how they have shops and everything. And I figured out how to do it on my Etsy and stuff like that. But I don't like Etsy because, like, Etsy has now been invaded by people who are A, not making their stuff, and B, AI. And fuck that on so many levels. So I'm gonna have to, once I get my shop up, whether it's Ko-Fi or um, whether it's going to be um, through my own, website or what have you, then we'll see. Then I'll shut down the Etsy. They charge you a listing fee, and then they still take a percentage of your sale. Yeah, well, like I know at the beginning, like a lot of people were saying, buy me a coffee. So, um, this is actually fun trying to like match this because it's 3 panels, it's 3 poses that are the same, right? It's 2 people looking at each other. And trying to like match it so that it's the same, like almost the same image. Although, like, I remember that used to happen. Like, what's his name? Mark Bagley was famous for doing that with like Ultimate Spider Man. It'd be like a double page spread where there was like a dozen panels and they were all the same except for the very, very last one, right? And then that would be like, the reaction shot, right? Like it was usually like something really relatively simple. And I'm sure what they were doing was like he drew it once and then they just statted it all the way through and then he just drew the other one. And that's an easy way to do it. But like, I kind of like the challenge of doing this. Like I have a piece, a page by Jim Calafiore, and he drew like 3 panels in it that were almost identical, but you could see like the change in Cyclops's visor changing a little bit, and then at the end, like he's like screaming. So you could see it was almost like an animation, right? Like you could see uh, his face squinch up and his mouth open up. Spit that. Looking at this live video and I feel like I look fat, and I don't like that. Was that the entire album? I love that album. That's the album I'm gonna buy. Like, why is that not on there? That's so weird. But I mean, I decided to do my streams like this for a while because I just really wanted have, like, you know, the accountability of doing my work, right? And then but also having that's he's looking too serious here. And that's not the way there we go. But you know, like, get work done, have a little bit of socialization, and still have, you know, kind of what I'm aiming to do without giving away anything that I'm working on. And you know, if people tune in, great. If I get some subscribers, awesome. If I get people interacting a bit, that's great. It'd be crazy if I got this entire page done. But it looks like I might actually do that. It's 3 panels, 3 repeated panels. And I just hope, like, when people see this, they appreciate and understand, like, what went into it. You don't like realize like how difficult it is, or even maybe how easy some stuff is to draw until you actually draw it. I think I might actually, yeah, Angel, I'm probably gonna finish this. Like, there's not really a background to it, but I mean, that's okay. I don't know, like, do people usually have a lot of stuff like up on the walls in their kitchen? Like, if they have like a like a kitchen table when they're eating, breakfast and dinner and stuff like that, do they usually have like art and shit up on the walls? Like, I have nothing up on the walls in my kitchen. Accidentally drew them too big, but it's actually gonna play in because then you can do like a nice dramatic zoom in. You don't have anything in your kitchen either. Like I don't even have like, some people have like the utensils or the pots and stuff like that. Like I don't even have that. I used to have like I had all my Nightwing figures like up like going across, and then I had some in the kitchen, but I took them out and I don't remember why. I think I took them out because I was like for like grease and stuff like that. So because this is supposed to be the scene where the these two characters like I don't remember if I wrote this in anywhere else, but like there's supposed to be not a confrontation, but there had been like two conversations, very short conversations between them. And they but there wasn't a lot of plot revealed, right? It was just like I'm telling you what to do, you do it. And that like it didn't let you know a whole lot about what was happening versus like, Clint Eastwood comes in and he's just like, I'm telling you how it's going to be. It's like these subtleties and intricacies of like the shape of his forehead really lend themselves to like, if you get them wrong, it doesn't look right and he looks like a different character. still the same song? Oh, yeah. Can almost see his hairline receding during this scene. Maybe I'll do like a, I don't know, like a, I don't know, like a cross hatching or something like that. Oh, Scantus. It's going to be some of the most detailed work I'm turning out. It's okay, buddy. I'm almost done. And I think that'll do it. This middle eye on this guy, not he has a middle eye, but I'm like trying to like figure out like what the hell is going on with it. That's fucking awesome. How long have I been drawing for? A little over an hour, give or take, with taking the dog outside and getting things and stuff like that. Like, That feels good, finishing this in one fell swoop, especially because this is kind of an improvised page as well. Okay, buddy, hold on. I'm going to let the dog out, then I'll come back. Oh, buddy, you're fine. Like, why are you crying? You have to go back out. Take your time. You don't get stuck in any mud puddles. No mud puddles. All right, guys. Oh. This was really good, you know. Learned how to shut somebody off of the chat who was a spammer. Drew 3 pretty decent images and got a page done, an improvised page. So I am pretty happy with this stream. So I hope you guys, you know, have a good rest of your night. And, you know, whether you're doing something creative or something fun or just something relaxing, like, you know, trying to be a lot more positive in my life and the way I interact with people. And I don't always succeed with that, but I honestly hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and working towards things that you really want to do, or just taking it easy, man, because this world it's not a lot of fun right now. We have to find those those things in those moments where we can, right? Yeah. Take care, Angel. Take care, chat. Have a good night.